Oh, a lot of dynamics in here today, huh? A lot of interaction, a lot of realization, right? Let's focus on a part of the class for a moment. Let's see how the dynamic of the ego is working today. Jennifer offered an idea to Matthew. It's all you. Now let's stay there. The assigned humanity as done by the assignment of humanity as channeled by Aristotle at one time with Roxanne made a very valid point for you to be aware of. The idea of subjective and objective realities. Subjective and objective realities. So when you objectify something, place it outside of you, then you are separated from your own creation. And as a valid world, a valid understanding of human dynamic, this was and still is to the asleep the standard. That the world is opposing to you. You are in opposition. You are constantly competitive. You're constantly changing your image to fit what you would consider the status quo, the normalcy, the admiration of acceptance, the attaboys. Now, why do you have that drudging feeling of emptiness at birth? Well, because you have no more connection. It is quite simple. A lot of you don't want to believe that horseshit. Don't do it then. Still have your separation fulfilled by the image, then you will continue that cycle as if you looked at your past life as the same. It's not going to change because it's law. So if you would fathom, consider that the emptiness that you feel that the image is always seeking is the disconnection from connection. As another species, let's just take the Ascension, for example. So they're all connected. They have a hive mind. They're all telepathic. They all know each other's thoughts. There's no privacy. That's a scary thing for the separated mind because you have to be intimate and honest with yourself. You have to be able to explore yourself. Well, they do that. They do that with themselves, and it is offered to the all, much like there's an open conversation at all times. It's not that they act in same ways. They act in individual expressions. Just everybody knows. As everybody knows what's going on with you. There's no one in all of creation that doesn't know any and everything about you. They do. It is the discovery of the now in time that gives you the relative reality of undiscovered selves, right? People, things like that. And it's a scary thing for the human. But the connection self is excited, but not the way the human thinks. Ooh, something good's going to happen, because it's the ego looking for the good to escape from the bad, the mediocrity, the emptiness. So I would like to offer this to Matthew. Your ego self is selling you a story every time you ask a question, unless the question has a relationship of not empty. So pay attention. Pay attention to what the image is trying to sell you to fulfill. If I trust and take this leap, does the fractal self, this separate, have what? Well, I don't know. Why don't you go fucking find out? Grow some goddamn balls and start to live as a god instead of a fearful god, always setting up its reality to the determined mind of separation that protects the self of separation as an image, which keeps you alive as the human construct, opposing reality as an object instead of the subjective. This is my world. What must I be afraid of if I am creating my own truth? If I take into consideration my existence as standard, which means I am invincible, that my pain and experiential deaths are not permanent. They're not even real. They are, as experienced, labeled. My real is my moment of interpretation of death, of pain. All of it is, as Jennifer now exclaims, me. Yes. And to take that responsibility would be absolutely obtuse to an objectified mind. Your mind relies on objects that you contained as valid. How did you get those? Well, by being born where you were born, with the parents you have, with the schools you went to, with the boyfriends and girlfriends you dated, with the explorations of honesty with yourself, with your own journey, literally, is where you have these truths that lie in time that give you a cycled idea of life until you become, as Matthew said, courage, brave, to see on the other side of fear. For have Katie let go to see on the other side of her parents' version of shitty about the relationship. If she starts choosing, no matter what, herself as a truth, well, then she'll get new versions of her parents as well as a new version of herself. It's not that she's going to see herself differently. She's going to know herself as different. And that's a big difference because seeing yourself and knowing yourself is subjective, knowing, and seeing objective. So as Aristotle said, if you keep putting your labels on things, well, who's putting them? Did you not notice you are putting them on? So it's always you. You're enacting the truth. So when you become subjective, there's no reliance on objective. As the Ascension don't care. They don't have a relationship with fear. They don't have a relationship with disconnection. The fractal knows not itself through memory, time. It knows itself as memory, time. That fractal knows itself as separated. You have commanded the opportunity yourself to be reconnected through choice, self-awareness, love, worthiness. And if you start to enact these on a daily basis, turning it into a now basis, a consistent I am my own God existing and never wavering from the truth, despite the ego mind selling you a story that causes fear, which is never now, the past which offers regret, which never happened, then you understand you are you creating your world. And these worlds start to unfold in different mannerisms. Katie is thinking, how do I get there? Blah, 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 blah. If someone wants to offer abundance, I can stay somewhere. So she is already afraid about getting down here. She wants to, but she doesn't know how to. See, that's the complicated. That's the ego selling Katie a story. And she's accepting the separated story from the ego, the image, to validate complications. Therefore, before she can take action, she has to do her ducks in a row. She has to set goals and to tackle one problem at a time and become the system of human separated of accomplishing idea. Well, gods don't accomplish. We are. I'm already accomplishing my reality. If you look around, so are you. Looks like you all have computers, some kind of cell phones or tablets. You have a ground below you. You're not floating off into space. You're creating gravity. You have an atmosphere that allows you to breathe oxygen and nitrogen. You have lungs that give you an experience of breathing. Now, this is happening because of you. You are existence creating your reality. This mind of yours cannot fathom because it's complicated, as Katie has admired in herself. Things to be honed in, objectified as outside of me, and handled through a brain that relies on the past references of knowledge to solve. When all she has to do is become subjective and relax and say, I got this, and allow creation to offer her abundance in ways that do mean monetary and ways that are monetary because you're on a planet Earth. You need fucking money. So you got to have no relationship with abundance of defined. You have to have abundance. And that's it. Let it come in any way it's going to. And when you are lacking in the moment, the things you need in time that have no payment given to the lack of time, which changes the moment. Don't give the lack, I don't have then, but now you do, because apparently you don't need it now, because now everything is full of an exceptional, perfect reality if you would take note of the now. But see, now for you guys is time, what your mind can spread in distance as valid. And that scares the shit out of you. So Katie will get a job. She'll have abundance. She'll take the car. She'll get gas. If she gets the fuck out of her way, even if she has $0 in her bank account, $0 in her wallet, she has a quarter of a tank of gas, and she starts to drive. Everything will be there, but she'll never know it until she lives I am God. You guys are afraid to discover that this particular class is not another goddamn distraction, that it is truly the way home. Everybody's going home in their own way. It's impossible not to arrive. The difference is you guys know it. You're not having the death experience of that knowing. Okay? So let's get busy and stop messing around with the distractions through the preveiled questions. My pardons. Through the preveiled questions. Where's your coffee, Roxanne? Of whys and why nots. Let's not look at reality like that, because you're stunned that something is coming into your reality that doesn't match my truth, that says my truth is this past. When the subjective reality relies on nothing. The vulnerable Jane taught you all to let go of your defenses, to let go of your circumcised realities of pain, cutting away the layers of you to conform to the ideologies of systems. Roxy finally figured out coffee with her. It's an expectorant. It makes her take a massive dump, and it also exposes the other way. If there's any in her body, in her lungs, and of course, you all know that it's a laxative. She only takes so much now, not like before. The truth, it's an experience. Right? The truth relating. Does coffee have nothing to do with your reality? Is it a big deal or a small deal? So now can you look at yourself and see what is a pain in the ass and what isn't changed, but it's not a big deal. You don't have to really worry about it. Don't let that ego sell you a story constantly to take you out of the focus of your passion of the now. That's all there is to it. So this ego self is afraid. You guys experience an enormous amount of fear on a daily basis if you really pay attention. The fears are lied in futures. Now you're alive. So if you see what happens, okay, let's take a robbery. Okay, a clerk is about to get robbed. The gun comes out, the knife comes out, and there's a moment of fear. But that fear is realization of danger in the reality of attraction that you guys would consider dangerous. Humans, I'm talking, because there's an assailant, after a victim that is going to rob or do whatever they're going to do, whatever. So you got to really understand that robber is lack. Otherwise, there's no action on taking from another. Lack is afraid. Lack is empty. Lack is an image. Lack is what you make real to you. Lack is not real to me. I do not thrust upon lack as a reality, but you do. So this robber is an echo of himself. is a God creating a reality through an image that says, this is true. I am lack, therefore I rob. So he goes in there scared shitless. Arrogant doesn't mean they're not brave. Doesn't mean they won't pull the trigger. But what they are is just afraid, as you are in the moment. Then you both become the moment. Now that's where life really starts to happen, and that's fucking exciting if you ask me. Now you think it's obtuse because a clerk is getting robbed, and that's wrong. Now we're talking about the fractal idea, the statuses of time. So this robber is bad, and this clerk is a victim, and hopefully they become the hero. Most people say just give them the money, just give them the money, but you all see how that works out. It's a crapshoot. Some people get killed anyway, just because this person is dominating their lack. They have to prove their image, and they've taken I am empty and I must fulfill it. So I'm going to rob and get, and if I'm successful and I'm getting more validation of my own motherfucking lack, then I'm going to take it depending on the strength of their ego. Remember, each now is individual. Then that self becomes alive and they start shooting just because they can. Because they need to know their worth. And their worth is power, domination, admiration, existence. I killed. Okay? That's the individual. It's not right or wrong. It is. All right? So now this victim realizes there's not truly fear because they're not thinking anymore, are they? They're alive in the moment, becoming themselves, bringing their godship in to the best of their ability and references to their worthiness. Am I worthy of standing up? If they choose to stand up, pull out their own gun, pull out a machete, start throwing, cower, and then surprise. Whatever it is, that's just a moment of realization that they can be a god, and so does the other. In the contemporary minds, these are things of separation. Those fears are demolished for both sides. As soon as the engagement starts to happen, and fears are no longer valid. You guys play so much of your fears in time on a daily basis. You get in your car, do you fear you're going to get in an accident? Maybe fear you're going to get a ticket? We're talking a whole bunch of fucking fears that you guys don't realize are fearful because they're not really valid, but they're still there. And you're like, oh yeah, maybe I ought to slow down. You get a ticket because that's your vibration. Is it a cause? Is it an effect? Only to you. I see it as an experience. But if you're driving down the road and you're not wanting a ticket, you're not going to vibrate in reality where you're going to get a ticket. But you're not thinking, I don't want a ticket, I don't want a ticket, I don't want a ticket. You don't even think about getting a ticket. You don't validate the fear to bring in the vibration of separation to give you that experience of that equal. Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Ding, 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 ding. That is the most fucked up karma basic idea ever. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. You all know the idea behind that, right? It's the same thing as I fear getting a ticket. But Murphy's Law is this. Whatever can go wrong, I think of. And if I will it, so be it. Because I am creator. That's why Murphy's Law is validated. So you can be Murphy'd all over the fucking place. Yeah. Because you're validating your fears. Does it take an exceptional amount of time? Yes. To undo your relationship with lack? Yes. But that's why you got busy in the now. So all Katie did has been, since this idea came up, is validating her lack. That's not a bad thing, Katie. It's now realization. But you haven't wasted any time because you're only now. So now if you start not validating your lack by claiming it's complicated, well, my parents, and this is good, and I don't know, and if you stop being that bitch to yourself, that unworthy fucking spineless codfish cockroach, then you can get nasty and say, I'm a God. Fuck it. Let's find out. It is quite obtuse to humans. It is the extreme of worthiness shown upon them. S-H-O-N-E. Light shone upon them. And they react to the light because it's too goddamn bright for their own worthiness. It is the respect of connectivity they are now experiencing. And you guys won't shine that bright light because you fear, once again, outcome, consequence, results. You stifle your own glory for the mediocrity of conformity. And then you're wondering why your fucking lives aren't changing. Okay, well, because, as Jennifer said, it's all you. It's your goddamn choice. Even the assigned blame, the objective realities around you, is the constant of humanity reinforced daily. You still have a choice to be subjective about your own world, and you can start to create a different life for yourself that attracts different versions, different people, different opportunities, potentials, remembrances, realizations. God waking up. Holy shit. Beyond what you think God is, beyond of all the distractions of the world and what it's supposed to be like and what you're supposed to do and what you can and can't do. You take them and tell them to fuck off, motherfuckers, and start being the God that owns its own world as the responsibility, no, as the ability to respond, as the Ascension say, to my own world as my own creation. And you can start to change. Not through image change. Okay, how do I do this? How do I do it? What about this? What about, and I don't know, I can't figure it out. And then all you do is get fucking this fucking shitty vibration that fucking just grinds at your fucking self, and it's like you're fucking running grinders all over you. Huh? You're taking a cheese grater and rubbing it on your fucking existence because you can't figure it out, and you're all up here, and the image going, yeah. Ego's going, yeah, let's fuck it up. I'm alive. I'm an image. I got to figure it out. Let's go get him, tiger. Cycle continues. Cyclic all the time. Because you won't get your courage that you deserve and you trust. And you must have it accessible to you because I'm talking to you. And it becomes a choice. Not in time, not a process. Now. And now presents itself to do the heart instead of the mind. Watch what happens if you do it. You're going to be vastly disappointed in the ego structure that it didn't turn out the way the ego thought. Here's the line it's going to give you. Wow, you got lucky. That's what it's going to tell you. It's going to tell you lucked out. You ever been the truth with your parents? You never get what you think. If you are honest with yourself, you cannot get the version of the equal fear of yourself because you have two different vibrational states at the moment. The fear is a certain frequency. The honest is a different frequency. That frequency is the match that it attracts as the version of the people around you. You can't expect them, but it's not what you expected. They may still be obtuse, but it'll be a different vibration. You'll know something if you trust and accept what you know instead of what you think. You can become godly every day, every now, on earth, as an awoken God, a homo divinicus, a relationship to reality that claims no more obtuse, unloathing, unworthy, self-loathing, disrespectful to my own existence, which in and of itself is a reality of existence, any longer. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. But if you want to, and you do, then that is the beauty of you. That is the unconditional God just creating another fucking simple, meaningless, worthless in the idea of egoic structure. Purposeless experience. That's it. Mind's running. Want you to become. How can you become more than your goddamn reality? Look at it. You do not see every leaf, every bark on the tree, every ant, every experience, everything you feel is your creative skill. You think it's just there, don't you? Okay? Well, you can think that way. So as you continue with the idea of understanding the relationship of memory, you will pull as a consistent, prove to yourself, as a consistent reality, remembrance, that you are valid in memory. Now that's a good thing, because what you're doing already. You validated your existence through memory, right? You can't do it in the now, because the now doesn't validate the ego. The now is unknowable, okay? It has no references to hold on to as an image reflected, because it is now creating its subjective world. But the image reflected is an opposing world. That lies in time, okay? Hang on. So that lies in time. So that, therefore, that self is reflected. Therefore, that self is known as memory, an image, an echo, a portion of yourself that was. And that's what you need, if you choose, to know that as a truth. Because if you know that as a truth, then you will most certainly detect a vibrational differentiation of a quality. The quality that says image, the quality that says truth. The truth of the unknowable, the truth of the image. This one is a different frequency, a different quality. I would say it's empty. That's up to you. It is full of reality when you truth it. Boom, you fucking hurt. Boom, you're happy. But when you are reflecting in the now about your memory, then you know it's collapsible, hollow, empty. Right? You know the truth of it. You know the truth of that quality of life, that person. But you don't have that person's memory in the now that tells you through that person's memory, that image reflected, those truths coveted, how to get out of the fucking mess you're in, how to make it go away, how to make it stop healing, because it's not there. That's what keeps it. You have to go beyond polarity. And one nice little nugget we've just given you is the memory complex. Soul memory complex that keeps you what you were. That tells you everything you've ever done in any now. That banks all the experiences of you. Why not reflect upon ourselves? Because we're creators of the now, and we can create now reflected. But what is the difference? The quality difference is that you claim, you truth, that the reflection is me as the now, and therefore opposition ensues. Reality is attracted to that frequency. Reality stays cyclic to the idea of you, always trying to constantly change your vibration through the same vibration of cause. You are now. So you have to change your tempo by changing your choices. I'm not claiming, Katie, it's complicated. My parents are this. Let's just say, please, please, please look at me as a victim. I can't create my reality because I am not brave. I am afraid. I am not worthy. I am scared. I come to these classes, but I never enact them because they're just another distraction for me to have an image. Yay! And that's perfect. Because I don't give a flying fuck what you do with your world. Because I can't. give a flying fuck. I don't care because I don't have the reason to care. Because what you are doing to me, what? You're giving me life. You are filling me with the we. You are giving me the beyond the unknowable now forever by being your truth. I just don't see it the way you do. Most times you don't either. You don't see it the way it is. You see it differently, but you're so scared. This connection can never be severed. You are on the existence side of things. You have that inherent feeling of connectivity, filled, full of yourself. But you can't trust that self because the fears were instilled upon you as a child and you've been carrying them around. The disheveled idea that your dads are telling you you are pieces of shit, sons and daughters alike. Your mothers constitute through your dads and reinforcements that, wow, yeah, you're right. You're a disappointment. You know? And you're wondering why kids kill their parents. Surprise! Huh? You wonder why people kill themselves. Surprise! Because it's just too great. The pain just hurts so much. But you guys are endurance of pain. You're the creators of pain. You are a point of view now that embraces your own pain and your own joys. And you no longer favor any side of that now projected reality that is now my subjective truth. And I shall embrace all of polarity, and therefore I shall transcend polarity. I will go beyond because I am God, and there is nothing I cannot do. Okay? So that gives you some good self-realization, meat to chew on. It is not my hope you do the work. It is not my vibration or creed that you take this in a different idea. Because I cannot extend my human feelings, for I am not human. And place them vibrationally upon you as a potential. I will never feed you what you are. I will always express what you are not, so you may know yourself as the unknowable known. Now, isn't that fucking awesome? So you can do in kind and give people the version of you that is beyond their expectations. And you will offend, and you will surprise, and you will be adorned and endeared. You will have so many interactions, reactions about your new found expressed self. And you will hesitate no more because the validation of your own goddamn love returning can never be sequestered any longer by the time-based fear realities of the consequential human consequences. That self that says, your love is too great. You can't get it until you act on it. Go and get the fuck down here. That's all you have to do. The time says go. And now this says do. No hesitation. For God's sakes, live. Fuck up your reality. Make mistakes. But don't you find mistakes to be truths no longer valid? Yes! Unless you are regretted. And then you are imaged. And then you realize. And then you accept. And then you're beyond image. Yay, you! Waking up. Memory. And how you know yourself. It's how you relate to this reality. But now offers no memory. Now offers you. That's all we have, class. Drew, is that some kind of masochistic thing to something go wrong and validate fear, unworthiness? It's not masochistic. Can't say that. It's not that until you validate that. Remember, let me end on this note. Okay, and maybe this will help. Maria, ¿cómo? Okay. Masochist. Okay. Okay. This unbelievably says regret and masochist. Okay. I want you to view this world as objective for a second. You see it up there? It doesn't stay there. What Drew asked, that kind of masochist. He did not go to masochist that stays there. He created masochist in the moment by validating it. That's the way he interpreted that question. That's him. Are you following that? Regret doesn't stay in time. Fear's not in time. It's not standards. There's nothing anywhere ever that is now standardized in time. That's a now choice to create the standards of memory, validating now through time that you are. Okay? Daphne.
Hi. I was thinking about speeding ticket. So I create a speeding ticket in the now. And I was speeding like a couple of weeks ago. And I don't get how it works with your fears and your vibration and memory and time.
I know, because you're thinking about how it gets.
Yeah.
Okay, see, that's it. That's your ego trying to figure, did you get a speeding ticket? Yes?
Oh, I've got many in my lifetime.
Okay. When was the last one you got?
Last month, I think.
Okay. Is it a bad thing?
Well, a little bit.
Okay, so guess what? Now your relationship to speeding ticket is, I get imaged through a speeding ticket. Remember, the ego doesn't give a flying fuck about positive or negative. The ego only relies on image. And if you go, I got a speeding ticket, that's a bad day, then you're validating that something objectified outside of you, instead of accepting you gave yourself the experience of a speeding ticket.
Oh, wow.
You get it?
The ego doesn't, wow, so the ego doesn't give a fuck whether it's positive or negative?
No, it needs to have its image.
Ah.
Beyond polarity. Remember what we always say? The worst atrocity suffering to the highest idea of joy is still all your limitation. It's encouched in polarity. Anything in that field validated as an object becomes a relationship of separation, an image reinforced.
Ah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Debbie, hold up the mug. Oh, Roxy just loves to see it. She's got her own mug. She's afraid. All right, Brent.
So anytime there's an idea of a question that's going to solve something for us, that's the ego?
Well, if it is a question relationship of the now. Okay, there's two states of awareness. Now, you were an Abrahamster, so you understand through Abraham experience and inquisition. There's inquisitive relationships that would be considered questions that are not solvation, right? To solve, you must understand you are problematic in the now. If you are seeking a solution, that constitutes an image of reflection that says, I got a problem. Like Katie says, I am in an idea of what? Complicated. I'm looking for solutions. And absolutely, that's an image. But there's also an idea, right, of an image, or rather not an image, but a now that is what you would consider the idea of inquisition. You must feel the truth between the two. Are you following, Brent?
Yes, and so obviously the same would be said for a question of betterment, to make myself better.
Of course. You
Yeah.
can't be better. But if you are looking to change your reality with something, you know, you're not going to go like this. How do I do this for myself? You have to feel that question out. If that is a lack full, you'll know. It doesn't mean you don't have to ask it or you have to ask it. It's just what you choose it to be, right? I need to become better. Like Katie, I need to get a job. Then if I have a job, I'll be better, right? That is a lack. She's enough now. But only her images telling her time-based reality truths are telling her that she's not better because she does not met the standards of A, her authority, parents, B, the second authority, standards of humanity. One of those being living at home. So she has failed and her vibration says, I need to make myself better. So how do I do that? What do I do? So there comes the salvation because I am viewing myself as problematic. Are you following that, Brent?
Yes, I am. And could you speak a little bit about how the turncoat comes into play at this time? Because
the turncoat is selling you a story of positivity, usually. Go get them. What about? Okay? You can feel the difference between the one that's, oh, you can't do that, you're not allowed, that's bullshit, to one that says, oh man, we got that, let's go ahead and do that. Now how do we make it better? The turncoat is just on your side. It's not opposing you. But the turncoat switches back and forth all the time. Right? So in other words,
I ask.
hang on. If I walk up to you and I give you $1 million, the turncoat's not going to be take it. The turn's going to go, you don't deserve it because you're not worth it. So if you're not worth, the turncoat doesn't stay the turncoat in positivity. It turns the code to negativity and says you can't take that. That just is, that's wrong, right? Because it doesn't deserve. That's too extreme. But if the turncoat, someone offers you $1,000 and the turncoat goes, oh yeah, we could take that. Hey, fuck yeah, let's take $1,000. And then all of a sudden the turncoat goes, hey man, do I need to give you anything back for this? Is there any catches to this? It's good, I'm going to take it, but is there some? So you understand, it's still asking, it's still not now, right? Are you following?
Yes, I was asking because from the classes from the last couple of weeks, I'm gaining such, for me, an unusual sense of confidence that like that vibration of like just the ease of just stepping away from like when I catch myself in a self and just stepping away from that. But then
Yes.
I think, oh shit, like, is that the turncoat that I'm trying to
see, that's the turncoat that's thinking itself.
Okay.
Whenever you question your reality of what it is, that's the turncoat.
Okay.
That's the ego. Are you following?
I am now, yeah.
Okay, good. Very good. Now you have another realization. You can't fear your actions. You are invincible as is until you do that over and over again to understand your actions can never be consequential because you're not validating consequence, then you can't have that memory react to the idea of consequence. Memory is created in the moment according to vibration, my friend. So if you're not validating consequence, do you think you're ever going to get a memory of consequential? Of course not. It's fucking law. But you have to get busy in the now by not validating. Oh my God, is that the turncoat? Well, let me check. There's a dictionary on turncoat. It doesn't seem to fit that. Let me do my research. Then you're right back into the turncoat trying to figure out and justify your own valid self. That's already in time. Get back to the now, kid. All right?
Yeah, so I was gaining a feeling of confidence from catching the self, and then that was the turncoat that was coming in and telling me that I'm tricking myself by figuring that I have it figured out
Yes.
now. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Very good. Very good, Brent. Very good. Matthew.
Okay, going on lines back to the whole thing with the speeding tickets. For a while now, when I originally came up with the idea about being that I am God, I stated to myself before I left the house every day, I want to spot any law enforcement officer before they
Okay, but
see me.
see, that's totally ego. Why do you need to prevent reality? All you're doing is attracting the possibility of it. See, the polarized mind, when you became an ego, okay, as a turncoat, because you became God and you go, okay, I'm God, I'm going to claim this. I'm going to spot any law enforcement. That's nothing but turncoat. That's 100% ego trying to control its fucking world. What do we say? Vulnerability, let go. Before you leave the house, you're trying to tell creation through a fucking separated mind what it's going to become in the future. There is no future. Vibration creates reality now. So the only thing you're doing is putting in the possibility that you're going to have law enforcement. So you can say, I didn't want that there, but I got it. So you can get an image of failure. All of polarity, my friend.
Okay.
Everything. You don't need to leave the house with any goddamn thought. Why? What do you need to prevent? What the hell is wrong with creation? Creation is unconditional, but you've been conditioned to create a reality that creation has a bad side. It doesn't. You are beyond polarity unless you choose polarization. And in the past, saying that wherever I go, I'm not going to have any, I'm going to set the affirmation or intention. If I intense something, which is intention, I am vibrationally intense. I'm tense about my reality vibration. Why am I going to get something of ease? Duh! Got to see that, right?
Yes.
So don't intend your reality to be any particular way, because you guys have been doing that all your life and you're still in this class. You're in this class because you're tired of the life that you were. You're here to wake up to the self of creator, right?
Right.
All right, very good. All right, guys, good stuff.
Who are we speaking?
Same thing. We're the three kings, kiddo. I'm the one who spoke first.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys tonight. I'll bring Roxy back. You need eyes?